Let's turn it over to Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst, live on the ground in Tel Aviv at the site of an Iranian missile strike. Trey.
Yeah, guys, I do want to start with some breaking news here. A senior Israeli official telling Fox News that Ismail Khatib, the intelligence minister of Iran, was targeted in a precision strike overnight. Khatib was responsible for supporting Iran's global network of infiltrators, of sleeper cells, to threaten countries like the United States and others around the world. This comes as we are tracking developments out of Israel, where overnight the Iranians launched more cluster munitions at the civilian population. Here, at least 2 people were killed in Ramat Gan, just on the outskirts of Tel Aviv. And another military official telling Fox News overnight it will take a few more weeks for the ballistic missile threat to be neutralized. You can see in some of the video here the aftermath of those cluster munition impacts overnight. These bomblets, dozens of them raining down on the population below. The Israelis not just looking to the incoming fire from the east, but also looking north to the Lebanese capital of Beirut in the southern Dakhla neighborhood, a Hezbollah stronghold where the Israelis launched a new series of airstrikes overnight and into this morning, taking down at least one high-rise building. The strikes that are continuing in Lebanon are also continuing in Iran, where yesterday the besieged forces came under attack by the Israeli Air Force. They are systematically going after this wing of the IRGC to ensure that they are not able to crack down at the level that they did previously on protesters. And as all of this is taking place, just right now as we're speaking, there are some alerts coming in. This means that in about, you can hear the buzzing noise here from the phones. This means in about 10 minutes, there will be new incoming Iranian ballistic missile fire against Israel. The population here likely heading into shelters at this moment. Todd, Carly?
Despite those signals that we're just hearing and the fact that you're probably going to have to go to a bomb shelter once again, how would you describe the pace with which these cluster munitions are coming into Israel, as the launchers, of course, have been a major target for Israel in the United States?
Yeah, there are certainly fewer missiles, but when they have these cluster munitions on top, they are not precise. And so they rain these bomblets and small munitions down on the population below. And we just saw a location where 2 people were killed just on the outskirts of Tel Aviv. I'm going to toss it back to you. We need to go take some cover amid this incoming missile fire, but we will keep you posted throughout the morning on Fox and Friends.
Understood. Trey Yingst live for us. Stay safe. Trey, thank you so much. Let's bring in former NSC Chief of Staff under President Trump, Alex Gray. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Going back to the NATO element of all of this, and Senator Lindsey Graham posted on X yesterday saying that he has never seen President Trump so angry than when the president realized how little help NATO was willing to give us to secure the Strait of Hormuz. And he described it as arrogance. Others have called it weakness. How should we view this denial from our NATO allies?
Well, Carly, Donald Trump is the only reason NATO still exists in any form at all. If he hadn't used the skillful diplomacy that he used in his first term, NATO would be totally irrelevant today. He got them to finally spend something approaching a decent amount on their own defense. But the reality is, if NATO is not going to be there for us when we need them, if the most powerful military that keeps NATO relevant at all can't count on the alliance members to be there for us when we're doing an operation that actually serves their interests as much or more as it serves ours, when you think about it strategically, the alliance has no future. And I never thought I would say that. I've always been a strong supporter of the alliance, but I think the president is absolutely right to be infuriated by the lack of support we're getting from our allies.
And according to the Institute for the Study of War, Alex, Iran recognizes that they can't beat the United States and Israel militarily, so their strategy is to outlast. And one of the ways that they plan on doing that is making the economic pain threshold so high, which is why we're all focusing on the Strait of Hormuz. And there is reporting that overnight, those bunker buster bombs were used again in the region of the Strait of Hormuz. So assess for us militarily if we're gaining control of the region, or where you think things stand right now.
Well, I think militarily, operationally, there is no question that this has been one of the most successful operations in the history of the United States military. I mean, there is no question that we are achieving objective after objective. You just look at the metrics the president set from day one, and you cross-reference that with what's actually happened on the ground. The proxies, the missiles, the Iranian Navy, the drone program, leadership targets, every single metric of operational success has not just been hit, I would argue it's been exceeded. And so to hear the debate in the American media and among some corners of my friends, fellow members of the MAGA movement, it just shocks me that you see people saying that this operation has not been a success when the facts just totally belie that, Carly.
Well, Alex, I'm glad that you said that, because I was reading this morning this Washington Post report, and it says that despite 2 weeks of relentless airstrikes, U.S. intelligence assessments say that the Iranian regime will likely remain in place for now. It goes on to say that the regime is weakened but arguably more hardline with the IRGC in full control. Can you weigh in on that? Because the concern that this reporting raises is that if this regime remains intact, it could be emboldened.
Well, look, I think it's one piece of information, and it's also a snapshot in time. Even if we accept that that's accurate, this operation, as I said, it's achieving these extraordinary tactical and operational successes. And I think the president's going to have significant opportunity over the coming days and if necessary, weeks, to change that trajectory. And again, this is not static. This is moving constantly. And the Iranians are adapting to the facts on the ground. Your reporter just noted another Israeli and American success over the last couple of hours in going after regime targets. I think that may be a moment in time, but the trajectory we're on, I would still stipulate, is an Iran that is a much less significant threat to the United States and the region than the one that we had 16 days ago.
Yeah, and finally, bringing this back here at home, national security officials are set to testify before the Senate Intel Committee today on the global threats to the United States that we are facing right now. Of course, we're talking about sleeper cells, lone wolf targets. You're concerned when it comes to that?
I think it's a real threat. And these hearings always highlight the challenges, as they should. I still think that we're dealing with some of the consequences of Joe Biden's open border and some of the things that we're still dealing with in terms of sleeper cells and infiltration. These are all very real threats, but we also have to realize that we have more geostrategic opportunity than we have had in decades. If you look at what has happened in Iran, in Venezuela, potentially in Cuba, I wouldn't just focus on the things that are potential challenges. I would also focus, and I hope they do in these hearings, the fact that Donald Trump has reset the global chessboard in a way that presidents going back to Eisenhower would be shocked by.
Yeah, from Venezuela to Iran to potentially Cuba up next. It is certainly a time in American history, and we will certainly be watching as it all unfolds. Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.